So out of all the changes I've experienced in the past year of eating meat again after being vegan for 5.5 years, this is the most unexpected one. I don't think any amount of research or Googling or even talking to other people would have ever let me know that this would have happened. And what that is a massive perceived increase in my body temperature. So I don't know for a fact if my internal core temperature has actually gone up. Maybe it has by a degree or so. I know you can't really push too much beyond 100 degrees before you start getting sick and just feeling bad. But kind of a bit of context as to how I know this and how I've felt this. And this is just my own personal experience. However, I have talked to other people that have felt similar things when reintroducing high nutrient dense animal products, especially things like eggs and meats into their diet. The reason I know this is as long as I can remember, but especially during the vegan days, which was between 18 and 23 years old, I would experience this uncontrollable full body cold feeling. Now, the best way I can describe it is imagine you're just going about your day and all of a sudden you're put into a freezer for 10, 15, 20 minutes till your whole body is just like cold down to the bone, and then you just go about your day, or I would go about my day at that temperature. My hands would get cold, my feet would get cold, my nose, my ears, face, cheeks, everything would get cold, even not cold environments. Now, I was pretty good at pushing through it. I was always known as the guy wearing shorts even during the wintertime in Flagstaff when it would be snowing, but I was cold. And I kind of just enjoyed, I guess, the feeling of being cold, but it did become inconvenient at times. The situations that I can say were the most inconvenient for being cold were either before presentations or any sort of class, school-related activity that required a lot of effort or potentially going in front of the class, anything that could cause a little bit of social anxiety, as well as dates. Now, at the time, I was using dating apps quite frequently, and I would go on dates every couple of weeks I would go on a date, and every time before I would get this extreme full body cold. And I don't think I've ever told anyone this. I've explained to people the cold feeling I experienced, but before many of the dates, it would get so bad that I would actually do a hot bath. This is like an hour before the date. I would do a hot bath for like 15, 20 minutes till I'm just like really, really, really hot and sweating. Then I would like rinse off, get in bed, and like wrap myself in the blankets to like keep that warmth in. And even that wasn't enough. Like the cold was just so rooted in my lack of a high metabolism, if you will. And as soon as I started eating meat again, I didn't notice this until I got to a point where I was like, wait a minute, I'm still putting myself in these either socially difficult situations or I'm still going on these dates, but I'm not cold. My body is perfectly regulated temperature-wise. If it's cold outside, I feel fine. If it's hot outside, I feel fine. It was as if my body just knew how to regulate my temperature with ease without even thinking about it. And now a year and a half in, it's still like that. I'm here in Florida. It's very hot. It's very humid. I don't have a car. I bike everywhere. Of course it's hot and I sweat, and while I'm biking, I'm like, shit, this kind of sucks. But I feel fine. Like I drink water. Sometimes I don't drink water. I add a little bit of sodium to my water and sometimes potassium and magnesium to help balance those electrolytes. But I feel fine. I'll be at the beach and if I get water, it's fine. When it's cold, when I was traveling Europe and there would be cold situations, I would be fine. So maybe this is still my body just like reintroducing all of these nutrients that I deprived it of for 5.5 years. And I'm just still like in this sense of awe, like, oh my God, I can't believe my body is like regulating my temperature and my like perceived temperature so well. Maybe in another couple of years, it'll be not as drastic, but for now, it's still great. I was surfing in Portugal just a few months ago. Part of me just wanted to find out if I could surf without a wetsuit, and it led to other problems like nipple chafing. My nipples were bleeding at one point, both of them, and I just looked down and there's both streaming blood. That was a different problem, but I did want to know, like, can I surf without a wetsuit? Because the school recommended, like, dude, you can't surf without a wetsuit. It's impossible. No one does it. And I was like, I was swimming in the water. I was in there for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like, totally fine. What's the difference with surfing? And I was fine. It's not to brag, but I loved it. Like, water was, I don't know, cold enough where no one else was not wearing a wetsuit. And I felt fine, and it was fun. And I liked just kind of having that raw feeling with the ocean of just swimming in it with just shorts on. So yeah, love to hear your story. If you have any, it doesn't have to be vegan. If you just went from a less nutrient dense to a more nutrient dense diet, or vegan to more animal based, or just eating more meat, vegetarian, whatever. Yeah, I'd love to hear if you've experienced something similar. I have talked to a few people I know personally that said they did experience something similar. I think my change was much more drastic because I just have this vivid memory of those either class activity or pre-date feeling of whole body is cold. It was like a nervousness, but expressed through just pure down to the bone cold. It's the best way I can describe it. So let me know if you've experienced something similar. I'm curious to hear, and we could find out why this is. I've heard some theories or ideas it has to do with something with the thyroid. To be honest, I don't really know that much about the thyroid or about a lot of biological processes. So let me know what you think.